Hello, and thank you. Last time, I asked the three crucial questions about whether this resolution should be implemented, whether now is the time, whether it can currently be done knowledgeably, and if international law is an effective mechanism. And, as I once again demonstrate, the answer to these three questions is no. The proposition argued that now is in fact the time to act to protect extraterrestrial life, although we have never encountered it and know absolutely nothing about it. According to Dr. George, as in all ethical situations, our obligations towards alien life would vary greatly based on what the type of life it is. If it is very fragile or very dangerous, we would need stricter protections. If it is very prosperous or beneficial, we would need freer access. However, we cannot possibly know any of this at the present time. The proposition also argued that scientific advancement has not been harmed yet by space regulations. However, we have not sent any manned missions to any planetary body that could possibly house life. The difficulties of ensuring no cross-contamination with a human manned mission would be far more severe. Further, as these protections would now be enforced by international law, if it was to have any effect, it would need to actually be enforced, adding additional burdens, as researchers would be required to have inspections and to gain approval for any research. However, as I have previously argued, this international resolution would have no effect. The proposition argued that international law is working because there's been peace in Europe. Despite the Yugoslav wars, recent terror attacks in Europe, and the meltdown in the Ukraine, demonstrating that even Europe is now not at peace. We need to vastly expand our view past a single continent to see a broader picture. We see 5 years of civil war against a brutal government in Syria, the rapid rise and conquest of the Islamic State throughout the Middle East, Iran violating international treaties, and civil war in the Sudan, among 13 armed conflicts currently recognized by the Council on Foreign Relations. What we see is that international law is not able to maintain all-important peace on Earth. How then is it supposed to maintain the protections for bacteria hundreds of millions of miles away? Further, the proposition flatly declared that international law will succeed in this, but she never said how this international law is to be implemented or by whom it is to be enforced. Is it an international treaty? The United Nations? Who would actually spend money to protect microbes? Will governments like China or Russia agree? Will they actually follow these regulations? The proposition has explained none of how this would work. Also, it was claimed that this resolution is as important as the issues that I said it would distract from. However, I think that it is clear that microbes on an alien planet are not as important as pressing issues such as human poverty, brutal warfare, and destructive climate change. These are what shall define this century, and these are the issues we must focus the world on. During this debate, we've seen fundamental flaws in this resolution. We have seen that it is irrational and arrogant to presuppose that we can regulate organisms that we've never encountered. We have seen that these efforts would delay scientific advancement. We've seen that international law has no ability to enforce this resolution. We have seen that it only distracts from major issues on Earth while attempting to answer deep questions about alien life that we cannot even answer about ourselves. This resolution would fail to wisely regulate, it would fail to wisely prioritize, and it would fail to enforce itself. This resolution must be defeated. Thank you.